How y'all doing today? Not much of an update. I added my temporary steering back. Swapped over to a different control box to run the Nissan 9.8. I had to make a bracket for the steering. This is a taller motor, a long foot. So I want to keep my cable steering. But my cable steering, when I designed it, was for the short foot engine, which the transom height was way down here. So I had to rise up. This is how I accomplished the rise. The stainless steel bracket already came on the engine to attach steering. This motor is designed for newer style Teleflex steering or hydraulic. You put the cable through here, it comes out that side with a trailing rod that connects to here. And that's how the engine steers. I didn't want to go to Teleflex. Man, will if I have to, but I already have everything for the cable steering paid for. So this is some like 3/8 aluminum. I bent it up, took my measurements to where I can hook up to my existing cable steering. And then get on down. I do have flex in all this. Everything's flexible and moves. I had to design it to where when I tilt the engine up, all this will move with it. So I trimmed a little more on my frame, which I need to trim more because this pulley contacts right here and binds up. But it's not just trimming there. I have to trim this 2x4 support as well for the cable to clear. That's all minor issues. Everything does work. I've already put about 3 hours of runtime on this setup. With the added tri-tune, I get 6 miles per hour wide open throttle with a cruising speed just above half throttle of about 4.5 miles an hour at a half a gallon per hour fuel burn. So I'm very happy with. Let me show you what it looks like when I tilt it. Let me see if I can do this. Got a built-in stand on my phone case. Let's see if it stays. The phone's probably gonna fall, so enjoy the ride. Anyway, when I tilt the engine, so everything moves with it. I gotta unlock again. This motor's got automatic locking. I really don't like it. Something I need to look at because every time you throw it in reverse, the lock doesn't hold. This is the lock mechanism. Only way to physically unlock the engine, I have to pull this up, and that allows me to raise the engine up, and then it automatically drops to the next notch. So when I put it in reverse, the motor automatically kicks up into shallow drive. And the only way to get it off of shallow drive is to come all the way up out of the water and go back down, and it automatically locks. When you put it forward, this little bar unlocks it. When you go back to neutral, it automatically locks. I guess it's sticking because the lock doesn't really work like it should. This is the button you pull, slide to release to lock it all the way up, and that bypasses the lock all the way up to where you're only using the preset notch pins. I have 3 notches. Put in the lowest notch right now. And if I want the next notch up to be the lowest, it can go. Then I just simply move that to this notch, and it won't let it go further down than that notch. And same thing with the third. But anyway, the main purpose of this video was the steering, to show what I've done the modifications. The controls were easy. I mean, this motor already came with controls. I did have to change the cables. It had 2 different length cables. My cables are too short, so I used the same cables I used for the Suzuki. They're standard Marsh style cables, and luckily I lucked out. Tohatsu used the same style cables. So Tohatsu and Honda use the same Marsh cables, same threaded connections. Of course, my cables run through the frame. I'm gonna come back and clear these holes up a little more. Gotta trim a little on that one. The cable's touching the wood. I got some minor modifications to make. But she's doing well. Steering works, does what it's supposed to do. Again, there's a temporary console. It'll be quite a while before I build the cabin. So what I plan on doing, our fall is almost here. It's about to start. We're gonna get cooler temperatures at night, less mosquitoes, less humidity. So what that means is I'm gonna use this for a tent camping platform on the water until I build the cabin. Cable steering. See, it's hanging up. There it goes. That's why I need to trim that transom braces, or the fantail braces. See, the pulley slips beneath it. And when I turn the other way, this pulley slips beneath this side. This side doesn't hang up. It clears fine. That side is the only one that's giving me problems. The starboard side is giving me problems. I don't know if the camera will catch it. Oh, without falling. We're gonna find out. Again, that's an easy fix. Got to do a little bit of trimming. I need to sort out the electrical and the engine. I tested the charging system. It was only put out 5 volts DC, and as we all know, a 12-volt battery is really like 13.2 volts, so you need a charging system that can exceed 13.2, or at least supply 13.2. I'm about to see what's going on with that. I'd like to better put a battery on it to charge it. Right now I saw a manual start, and the choke rod is missing. I need to fabricate a choke rod. Still deciding if I'm gonna put the starter button. I may put the starter button right here with a manual choke lever in the back. That way it forces you to come check your oil every morning before you fire up. If I put a key start in the cabin, I'm gonna be in the habit of key starting in the cabin and not come and check on the engine. So I think I'm just gonna fix it all back here. And you know, my latch is really loose. If I tow it down the road, I'm afraid I'm gonna lose the cover because this latch just pops right off. That's something I'm gonna have to resolve as well. Mechanical issues. It's minor. I need to change this fuel hose. It's too short, which as soon as I get off of this video, I'm gonna bring this hose with me to Napa, get a new hose. When I got the motor, it hasn't ran in a while. I tried to put gas in it and run it, nothing. I pulled the fuel line off. A bunch of what looked like sawdust came out. It was just ethanol fuel, I guess, or non-ethanol fuel that degraded and turned to what looked like a fine sawdust. This entire hose was full of that sawdust. So I dropped the carb. This is a new carb that came with it But I dropped the original carburetor, pulled the bowl, and it was the same thing, full of powder. Pulled the fuel pump off, it was the same thing, full of powder. But undone the main fuel line. I'm gonna pump the bulb. I managed to get fuel out of here. And there's a little inline filter right here. Well, it ran great that first half hour after cleaning the fuel system and putting a new carburetor. It ran beautiful. After about a half hour, of course, it was just about the time you go put it in the water. That's the first run. Then it got to where the engine would not idle. I had to keep revving the throttle. Sometimes put it on quarter choke just to keep it running. This is a choke, by the way. It's missing it's a long stainless steel rod that goes from here out the front of the engine to where you pull a knob to choke. That's easy to fabricate. I thought about putting on another Marsh cable to where I could run a choke all the way to the console. Still may do that, but I like the idea of coming to the back of your boat every time you want to fire up. It forces you to, while you're here, check the oil, you know? So where I can make convenience of key start and choke, everything in the cabin, you're probably gonna overlook checking your oil because it'll be fine. Just crank it up and go ride. But anyway, I'm probably gonna order a new fuel pump. I didn't buy any gaskets for it. I just reused everything that was on it. I got no leaks in the fuel pump, but I'm thinking I'll start up some more of that trash broke loose and got into the carburetor, and it's clogging the main jet or the low speed jet to where it doesn't idle. So I'm gonna look forward to pulling the carb off, cleaning it. I may clean the original carb. This turned out to be a 15 horsepower carburetor. It's a 9.8 engine. But yeah, that's what I got to do, and I still got to make the aluminum for the transom. It's gonna plate the entire transom on the outside, and it's gonna have two 6-inch aluminum flat bars going all the way to where I can tie into the main beams. And I did get it registered. Thank y'all for viewing. I'll update more when I can.